Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. In a positive and transparent election, the Georgian people have confirmed last year's historic and unique, as far as former Soviet countries are concerned, peaceful transfer of power. This clean election, following a political cohabitation that is also unique as far as former Soviet countries are concerned, tells that Georgia's democracy is maturing. The election was efficiently administered and took place in an amicable and constructive environment. Fundamental freedoms of expression, movement, and assembly were respected, and candidates were able to campaign without any restriction. The campaign environment was without major irregularities. The media was less polarized during this election of the election process, and the involvement of a large number of citizen observers and groups enhanced the transparency overall. Our observers assessed election day as professional and transparent overall and in accordance with procedures. Further consolidation of democracy requires a forward-looking approach and strengthening of the rule of law. Thank you to all of those Georgians who so warmly welcomed us, me particularly in polling stations yesterday, and to the thousands of Georgians that have worked tirelessly to bring this election together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President Schwartz. I now give the floor to Ms. Matteotti.
Yes, thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, all of you, for coming here today. The Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly have observed all national elections in Georgia since 1995, and we have been able to witness the real progress made by your country since then. I was myself here last year, and I could really testify about that. Together with my colleagues, yesterday we visited a number of polling stations in the capital, as well in different regions of your country, such as Gori, Batumi, Rustavi, Kutaisi, as well as areas with national minorities. We could see that the elections were professionally organized and that voting took place in a calm and orderly manner. I think, and we think, that our joint statement is an objective reflection of the situation. I wish to underline that just 1 year after the parliamentary elections, the Georgian citizens, all of you, have again demonstrated their political maturity in these presidential elections in a peaceful climate and with an inclusive process thanks to the election administration. Last year's and yesterday's election are an important achievement for the country and for the entire South Caucasus region. Apart from this, I feel that it's a pity that 2 Russian members of our delegation were not able to participate to this mission. Finally, I would like to emphasize that the Parliamentary Assembly remains ready to assist the Georgian authorities.
And let me say that I have personally witnessed impressive progress and positive changes in this country. I would like to thank the authorities for the good cooperation, especially during the briefings for the members of the Parliamentary Assembly delegation. On election day, I visited polling stations in Tbilisi and its surroundings. The polling stations I visited vote and their choice for their future. I was very happy to see people who were eager to cast their votes. I also noted the high number of observers, including so many citizens observers who were very active on election day. With yesterday's vote, Georgia brings this cycle of elections to a close. Georgian people can be proud of the democratic steps they have made. I encourage the country and all the political and civil society actors to use this important progress to continue moving further without dwelling on the past. At the closure of this recent regional election cycle, Georgia indeed comes out as a very good example for the conduct of successful elections and smooth democratic transition of power. I would like to thank my colleagues from the other parliamentary assemblies and the dear long-term observers and the leadership of my former colleague Matteo Megacci.
Thank you.
And as well as my colleague Chiara Soares, the special coordinator of the OEC Germany office, who led the short-term observers for a very difficult work they have done. I look forward to visiting Georgia again in the near future and with the people of Georgia.
And it is separate from the NATO itself, which represents the governments of the NATO nations. As parliamentarians from the NATO countries, we take it upon ourselves to help promote the alliance values and beliefs, and to help other nations develop the democratic principles and practices which are the bedrock of international peace and stability. Our Assembly has been working with the Georgian Parliament since the late 90s. Along with the entire international community, we have been impressed by Georgia's transformation after the Rose Revolution, as it moved progressively forward with an ambition plan for Euro-Atlantic integration. Just over 1 year ago, we witnessed a major milestone in Georgia's journey toward Euro-Atlantic integration through a successful transfer of political power via the ballot box. Yesterday, we saw another such milestone through a vibrant and well-conducted presidential elections process. Once again, we were privileged to see the Georgian people's commitment to the democratic process. We saw truly competitive, orderly election process, thanks to the dedication and hard work of the thousands of citizens who worked in the election commissions. I don't need to read out the section on the elections itself. Just a few words make the point very clearly: professional, transparent, competent, and inclusive. For me, the conduct of this election underlines the fact that Georgia remains firmly on the path towards Euro-Atlantic integration, a platform which unites all Georgians' main parties. I'm pleased to say that what we saw yesterday was an European election. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I give the floor to
Thank you very much. As we speak about democratic changes and processes, let me, before I will start talk about Georgian election, let me just share with you a very sad news. We just got as polls from Poland. Tadeusz Mazowiecki, the first non-communist prime minister, not only in Poland but also in Eastern Bloc, just passed away. Hope we will remember him as a great Pole and great European citizen. It's my pleasure to address you as the chair of the European Parliament delegation, the only democratically elected body of European, in our opinion, a negative impact on the campaign environment. Hopefully, luckily yesterday we observed a calm election day where the election administration worked overall in a professional manner. It was an important day for Georgia, continuing on the line of the exemplary elections of 2012 that graduated for the first time the peaceful transfer of power. The next few months will shape Georgia's future as the cohabitation ends, the parliament gains increasing authority, the new prime minister will be appointed, and the challenges to its territorial integrity continue. The local elections, due to take place in 2014, will be, in our opinion, another important test for the maturity of Georgia's democracy. In a month's time, the Vilnius summit will take place. It is a chance for Georgia to initial the association agreement with the European Union. This will be an important step on the path of European integration. It is a step that the European Parliament supports, of course, as it supports the visa-free regime for Georgians. Both were clearly stated in the recent resolution of the European Neighbourhood Policy adopted by European Parliament just last week. However, we can read in the resolution, the signing of the association agreement should be conditioned on tangible progress by Georgia in the area of the rule of law and democracy. It has to deliver on the reforms, particularly those aimed at achieving an independent and impartial judiciary and an effective criminal justice system. The European Parliament hopes that Georgia will continue playing a progressive and constructive role in the Eastern Partnership and remains committed to strengthening EU relations with Georgia. We have always declared our readiness to support Georgia's progress and reforms in line with the principle of more for more. And finally, let me say a few words to two presidents. To President Mikhail Saakashvili, I would like to say on behalf of European Parliament, thank you not only for cooperation with the Parliament, but also for what was made last 10 years. Georgia is a different country today. And to new President, we wish you, wish you, President, all the best on the way to cooperate closer with the European Union, and we hope you will run the country in the direction of national reconciliation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now it's a great pleasure that I give the floor to Mr. Antonio Kaczmarek,
Thank you very much. As you know, our mission has been in Georgia already for 6 weeks, with 16 people who are based here in Tbilisi and 28 long-term observers who were deployed in 14 regions of the country. For the election day, as my former colleagues just mentioned, we were joined by over 400 observers that traveled all over the country. On election day, we observed all over Georgia. We have met all presidential candidates, civil society organizations, and all Georgian authorities involved in this election. We wish to thank all of them for the cooperation they offered us, and in particular, we wish to stress the important role that was played during the entire election process, and not just during the election campaign, by the NGOs and civil society organizations. And we encourage them to continue their important work. Over the past 6 weeks, we have observed a competitive, transparent, and well-administered election, in which both the authorities and the opposition played positive roles. This type of process, where all those involved, including a viable opposition, play their proper roles, is essential for the future consolidation of democratic institutions and the rule of law. The election administration managed the electoral preparations in a professional, transparent, and timely manner, manner and enjoyed a high level of confidence. The Central Election Commission, before making decisions, engaged in inclusive discussions with all those involved. A wide range of views and information was available to the citizens of Georgia through talk shows, newscasts, and free airtime during the election campaign. Candidates were offered a platform to present their programs and opinions freely. All this came together on election day, which was considered overall by our 400 observers as professional and transparent. The assessment of opening, voting, counting, and tabulation was positive. Procedures were largely followed, and the international observers noted a high level of transparency throughout the day. The main concern expressed was that polling stations were overcrowded with more observers than allowed by law, and in some cases they interfered in the process. Our observations here in Georgia confirms that when countries take their democratic commitments seriously and make improvements according to international standards, they can move forward to consolidate their democratic institutions and the confidence of the people in the electoral process. We wish all the best to the people of Georgia. We will stay in the country for 2 more weeks to follow the post-election process and to prepare our final report. And we stand ready to continue our cooperation with both the Georgia authorities and its society at large. Thank you very much.
Can I have one?
Thank you, Chair. Something and then we give the floor.
Okay, just quickly, but I wanted to underline, as former president of the Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE, that our Deputy Secretary General, Tina Schoen, is leaving us. This is her last mission. And she has worked for us. Without Tina Schoen, we could not consider the Caucasus as we have in a proper manner since the last 15 years. I wanted to express our gratitude. Ilka Kaneva, my own, all the members of the Parliamentary Assembly, I'm sure the Secretary General Spencer Oliver, our deep, deep, deep gratitude for Tina Schoen. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Just wait just a moment,
please.
As I said, we have observed also all the process of the election over the last 6 weeks, and we have seen that the competent authorities so far have dealt with the complaints in a very professional manner, starting with the Central Election Commission. So we will see how they will handle these complaints. We will follow carefully, but we have trust in the Election Commission, and we'll see how it goes. Well, second round, I think you need to see what is the reaction of the Central Election Commission on the complaints, and you can go from there.
Even down now, the polls.
Well, thank you. My name is Tatul Habokan, Armenian Citizen TV. Can I report today that yesterday's elections were free, fair, transparent, and the elections met with international European standard without words, mostly, partly. Thank you.
Probably.
Yes, we can.
I didn't hear it.
We were not
part of the question.
We were not.
We are here to talk about Georgia,
Yes.
not about all the region. We can make a meeting with you and with other people that are interested in that matter to talk about all the South Caucasus. Armenia also. Now the point is to talk about the Georgian elections, and that's what we have done.
Thank you, President Jordan. Only for 2 minutes. Yeah.
One.
My name is Nicole Wild. I'm a freelance journalist. You mentioned that there was some pressures on the local bodies, and that is still an issue. Do you think that next will we have local elections and maybe the stakes are much higher than they are now with the president? That might become a bigger issue in the next election, and that really needs to be addressed because then it will resurface in a different manner. It might actually influence the elections more than it does this time.
We made this remark to avoid this kind of situation in the future, but we still think that if the, for example, exit polls result will be confirmed by the final official results, it means that the results reflect the opinion of Georgian people. But as I said, we put it in the report to avoid it in the future. Even if it would be one case, but in this case there was many of them, it's something negative.
Thank you. Are there other questions?
One there. But Roberto, leave.
Moment.
Yes, I think that it's because Georgian citizens are more mature, and also because the authorities, in the technical way, they have been prepared. And it is a really wish of the whole society to be in the standards of human rights and compliance on the rule of law.
I agree. I fully agree. I only would like to add that, and we should say probably from this table also thank you to all the main candidates, because they created, of course, competitive atmosphere, but without too big aggression like it was before.
Hello, my name is Misha Yevkov. I'm from Radio Liberty. So my question about the activity of Georgian citizens. It was very low. I think it was less than 50%. To be exact, it's 47%. So what do you think generally about it? And what were your expectations before the elections? And what's the reason from your point of view of this small activity?
I mean, in general, we don't judge the democratic quality of an election by the turnout. There are several cases in many parts of the world where you have low turnout and very legitimate and democratic institutions. And this is our main goal here. Then there can be different reasons for what happened. People mentioned that the fact the campaign this year was less polarized, and we observed that and have reported. So there is always a good side and a downside. You see progress when you find the right balance, and I think this time, I think people can be quite satisfied. Yes, as I mentioned, we had our own observation of the 6 main TV channels for 6 weeks, and the numbers that will be available also for you to consider are showing that the campaign coverage was balanced. Certainly among the main contestants, as the results have shown, both on the public broadcaster but also in the main media channels. And considering that in Georgia, according to social analysis, the highest, very high percentage of people make their opinion who to vote for through these TV channels, we believe our assessment is the people had the right of information.
Implications for this race. The Prime Minister's statement that should the candidate for his party not achieve a 60% threshold, there should be no participation potentially in the second round. And if you haven't given an assessment of that, if you offer some thoughts. Thank you.
It's difficult to judge.
We saw it, and I think I can speak in the name of all of us, but of course the floor is open to express other positions, but we saw it in the Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE, and we said it personally to Prime Minister Ivanishvili as a political pressure over the electorate. But it's a normal political pressure that doesn't go forward than the law, of course. And as a political pressure, it has, it's my personal point of view, it has, as always, or almost always, 2 ways of being read. It can be read positively for the candidate you wanted to support, but it also can be read negatively to the candidate you have to support. I don't know if anybody else.
I agree.
What would be interesting from our point of view would be to see if with this statement then you have an effect on how the election day works and if there is a sign that this is going to happen. Now you have a result that is quite similar to what was said. But from our observation, there is nothing that can be seen as pressure from the authorities, neither at the central level or at the local level, to make this happen. And this is what is important for our assessment, I think. Then there, as Joao said, I mean, there can be different interpretation on the meaning of this and the significance for the election environment.
More questions?
Thank you very much.
Declare the press conference closed and just remind that the Georgian version of the statement is not available on the website.
Great.
Thank you so much.
All
the best.
Now we can take switch.
And we'll meet in the place.
We'll be in touch.
Congratulations.